Hello and welcome to a session of Daniel's Prayer Window. I hope you're having a great day today so far, wherever you're watching me, whether at work, at home, heck, if you're at school, I don't know where you are, but thank you for taking a time to click on this video. We've been talking about one of the biggest giants that we as humans have, fear. Fear is, in essence, almost the same thing as faith, but the negative version of it. Fear is that giant that gets into our brains and our hearts and doesn't let us think, speak, and act clearly. Fear is that which grabs hold of your hope and faith and just diminishes it and just kills it completely. And fear becomes a pattern if we are not careful. We have patterns of fear. Now, you see, fear really It brings anxiety. It brings other friends with it, right? It brings anxiety, depression, loneliness, paranoia, a bunch of things. Today, I wanted to touch on something specific about the theme of fear. Now, someone, I believe a historian said, or a very famous theologian said, that about 365 or even more times in the Word, God tells us, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. It's probably the sentence that it's repeated the most across the whole Bible. If God gives it such importance, why don't we? Now you see, what I want to touch on today is this. We as humans, this body, this mind, this heart is a machine. It learns. It adapts. If you start just eating burgers and fries for a month, your body adapts. Your health adapts. It becomes weaker, it becomes fatter. If you start thinking a certain way, one time after the other, your brain adapts. It creates patterns and loops for self-preservation. If you're a fearful person, and you've been so for a while, you just might have convinced yourself already that being afraid is normal. You can be listening to a message like this and not find anything wrong about what I'm saying, because it's just who I am. It's part of my character, part of my personality. Now, that's a problem, because there's a short passage in the Bible I want to share with you and leave it with you today so you can think about the whole day. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but rather of power, of sound mind, and discernment. Sorry, forgive me. Power, love, and sound mind. Power, love, and sound mind. The only thing God will never do is give you fear, is make you afraid. That's why he said that so many times in the Bible, don't be afraid. God gives it importance. He gives us 3 tools to battle fear: love, power, and a sound mind. It has to do with our character, with our heart, and with our intellect, with everything, to battle the giant of fear. There is no possible way for a Christian to live fearful and think it's part of their character and it's a normal thing. It's not. If you have been afraid for a long time and you have gotten accustomed to it and you're used to it, I want to tell you, today God wants to take that out of you, because it is not normal to live in fear. It is not normal to be a fearful person. God doesn't want you to be a fearful person. The closest thing to a fearful person that you could possibly be with God is maybe a cautious person. But that's about it. Because God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Today, embrace the love, the power, and the sound mind of Christ. Know that when you feel afraid, you can turn to God's love and say, I am loved, I have nothing to be fearful of. When you feel afraid, you turn to God's power and say, I am full of God's power, I have nothing to be fearful of. And when fear comes knocking at your door, you say, I have the sound mind of Christ, I choose not to feel afraid. 3 elements that God gives you to battle that spirit of fear. Today, let's declare together, I renounce to all fear. I let go of this fearful self, this fearful nature, and I declare I am full of God's love, God's power, and I have His sound mind. I declare a blessing over you today. Today, stand up as a child of God and know you're not alone. Do not be afraid. He's there with you. Thank you so much for tuning into this message. Share it with someone. I will see you next session at midday in Daniel's prayer window. Take care. Bye-bye.